Have you ever read one of those articles about an extra $200 a month for Social Security and felt that tug, that cautious little hope, immediately followed by a wave of skepticism? If you're sitting there thinking, I'll believe it when I see it, then you are in the right place and you are not alone. Today, we are going to walk through this topic, step by careful step, without the hype, without the pressure, and with absolute clarity. My name is Susan Harper. For over a decade, my work has been entirely with American seniors and retirees, helping to navigate complex financial landscapes and find peace of mind. I have sat across from thousands of people who depend on that monthly Social Security check for groceries, for medicine, for keeping the lights on. My purpose has never been to sensationalize, but to simplify, to offer a steady hand when the news feels overwhelming. So let's begin this important conversation with a deep breath and a clear perspective. This idea of an additional $200 is not brand new. In fact, it tends to reappear like clockwork whenever the cost of living makes a sharp climb. Certain members of Congress, hearing from their older constituents, bring this proposal forward as a way to address the very real and growing gap between fixed incomes and rising expenses. But here is the vital first piece of understanding. A discussion is not a decision, a proposal is not a law, and a law is not a check in your mailbox. This distinction is everything. It protects you from the cycle of hope and letdown that so many have experienced before. The recent talks have often centered on this being temporary relief, a short-term bridge to help with high inflation. That crucial detail, the temporary part, often gets lost in the flashy headlines. Can you see why that single missing word changes the entire story? So, let's be perfectly clear and fair. As of this moment, there is no universally approved $200 monthly increase. There is no official payment calendar. There is no start date confirmed. What exists is a conversation. And that conversation is important because it acknowledges a pressure that millions of you feel every single month. Your voices are being heard, even if the process moves slowly. My role here is not to make promises, but to provide a lens so you can see what is actually being said, what is merely being suggested, and what has decidedly not happened yet. If you feel like your benefit doesn't stretch as far as it did just a few years ago, you are not imagining things. The financial squeeze on retirees has been gradual, persistent, and deeply personal. It's in the grocery bill that seems to shrink the bag. It's in the prescription copay that inched up again. It's in the utility bill that fluctuates wildly. These aren't just headlines. They are your monthly reality. Even with the most careful budgeting, that feeling of treading water can be exhausting. Why does it seem like the goalposts keep moving? Organizations that advocate for seniors have shown that Social Security's purchasing power has eroded significantly over the years. The same amount of money simply buys less. For many, that benefit constitutes the majority, if not the entirety, of their monthly income. So when we talk about a figure like $200, we're not just talking about a number. We're talking about breathing room. We're talking about one less impossible choice between essentials. We're talking about dignity. This is why the conversation matters even before any action is taken. This brings us to the annual cost of living adjustment, or COLA. It's designed to help benefits keep pace with inflation, but so many of you tell me it feels like too little, too late. There's a reason for that. The COLA is based on inflation data from a period that has already passed. By the time the increase reaches your check, you've already been grappling with those higher costs for months. It's like getting a coat after the coldest part of winter is over. The intention is there, but the timing is off. Furthermore, the way inflation is measured doesn't always mirror how seniors actually spend money. Your biggest costs, like healthcare and prescriptions, often rise much faster than general inflation. This creates a frustrating gap. Proposals for extra funds try to address this immediate gap, but again, attention does not equal action. So, what is the real story behind this specific proposal, and what are the parts they aren't shouting about? In the versions debated, this was framed as temporary inflation relief, not a permanent boost to your Social Security. It was envisioned to last for a set number of months, a buffer during a period of unusually high prices. This is the cornerstone that changes everything. An extra $200 for, say, 12 months could provide real help during that time. But what happens in month 13? This temporary nature is where we must be most cautious. If that end date isn't part of the headline, it builds an expectation that the system is not designed to meet. It also leads to the next critical point. The journey from an idea to your bank account is long and filled with specific steps. A proposal must be drafted, debated, voted on, approved, funded, and then implemented by the agencies that send out payments. We are still in the early stages of that chain. Talking about what could happen is a world apart from confirming what will happen. This cycle is where emotional fatigue sets in. You hear a promising idea year after year, often wrapped in the same urgent language. It's completely understandable to feel like tuning it all out. That protective skepticism is born from experience. But why does the information feel so contradictory and confusing? Much of the confusion stems from the language used in quick headlines and social media clips. Phrases like starting now or new monthly payments are often referring to the conversation happening now, not money arriving now. When information is compressed for clicks, nuance is the first casualty. Different voices also focus on different angles, some on the potential help, others on the political debate, leaving you to piece together a full picture that is rarely offered. So, what should you take from this? Ground yourself in what is current. This is a proposal reflecting real concerns. It is not a guarantee. Protecting your financial peace means basing your budget on what you can count on today, not on what might happen tomorrow. This leads me to a point we don't discuss enough: the emotional weight of temporary relief. On the surface, extra money is welcome. It could ease real pressures, but when that increase has an expiration date, it introduces a subtle stress. People naturally adjust their spending, even slightly, to match their income. When that income then drops back down, it doesn't just feel like a financial loss. It can feel like a loss of stability. For those on a fixed income, predictability is often more valuable than a short-term spike. Would a smaller but permanent increase actually provide more long-term peace of mind than a larger, temporary one? This isn't to say temporary help isn't useful. It is to say that it should be viewed with clear eyes and realistic expectations. Some economists suggest that if additional support is given, it should be structured in a way that allows for gradual transitions, not abrupt starts and stops. The core of the debate is about finding a way to better protect your purchasing power for the long run. Regardless of what happens in Washington, your power lies in the steps you can take right now, which don't require any new laws. First, get intimately clear on your fixed expenses. Knowing exactly what you must cover each month puts you in a position of control. Second, separate news headlines from your financial planning. It's wise to stay informed, but it's essential to build your budget on reliable current income. This habit shields you from the emotional roller coaster of speculation. Finally, please be gentle with yourself. You are navigating a complex system in an unpredictable time. No one has all the answers. Your strength comes from focusing on what you can manage, asking questions until things are clear, and prioritizing calm over urgency. You've spent a lifetime building, contributing, and caring for others. You deserve information that respects that experience and helps you feel secure. If this conversation has brought you some clarity or a sense of calm, that means the world to me. If you found it helpful, please do like this video. It helps others find this guidance. Consider subscribing to this channel so we can continue these important, calm discussions together. And if you're willing, I'd love to hear from you down in the comments. What is one financial lesson you learned later in life that you wish you had known sooner?